Hello everyone, I'm Aaromal Satheesh and welcome back to my new video. Like I said in my previous video, here I'll be explaining about the different corporate job options available in India after Pharm-D. But again, like I said before, as a Pharm-D graduate, your main aim should be to become a clinical pharmacist. This is just to give you an idea about the corporate jobs. The B.Pharm graduates are also eligible for some of these fields like pharmacovigilance, but it's always advisable to start working after completing your masters, because as a B.Pharm graduate, your salary will be less compared to a Pharm-D graduate or a candidate who's having post-graduation or M.Pharm degree, and also it can affect your growth within the organization. So my personal advice is to finish off your educational part in one shot, take a master so that you will become more focused, more trained, more confident and professional, and then start your career in a corporate sector. If you are an experienced person in any of these fields watching this video, then please provide your suggestions, inputs or thoughts in the comment section so that it will be helpful for the freshers. So for better understanding, please watch my previous video where I've given an introduction to the corporate jobs. The link for that video will be here on the top as a card or will be in the description below. So now let me discuss about the different job options that is again related to these clinical trial process. So the first one is a clinical research associate. So the CRAs, the clinical research associates, are appointed by the company or the sponsor to make sure that the clinical trial is running as per the process without any deviation from the designed protocol. So they make frequent visits to the sites where the clinical trials are conducted and monitor the activities. They assist the team in clearing any doubts or clarifications. They check the integrity and reliability of the research or the clinical trial data. Basically, they monitor each and every step right from the start to the closeout of a clinical trial. So they act as a link between the sponsor, the company and the investigator, the doctor and the hospital. So if I give an example, during the lockdown we had the cops out there in the streets, right? So they made sure that nobody is coming out of the house, there is no gathering in the streets. So the CRA has a similar role. They are there for the company to make sure that all the trial activities are running as per the process without any deviations. So as a clinical research associate, you need to travel a lot. There is a lot of mobility happening, but at the same time, it can affect a bit of your family life. Then coming to the salary. So as a clinical research associate in a contract research organization, as a fresher, you will be getting a salary between 20 to 25,000. But again, in the core companies, as a fresher, you might be getting around 35 to 40,000 depending on the companies. Again, if you want a little more clarity, you want to know more about the clinical research associate job, you may contact Aaromal Anthony. He was my senior. He studied in JSS and now he's working as a CRA for Novo Nordisk Bangalore. I will give his contact details in the description below. So the next option is pharmacovigilance. So PV or pharmacovigilance is all about drug safety, and those who are working in a PV team for a company is commonly known as drug safety associate. The word pharma means drug and vigilance means to keep watch or to observe. So in pharmacovigilance or PV, we closely monitor or observe to identify any adverse drug reaction that occurs due to the use of a particular drug in humans. It starts from the initial phases of a clinical trial and even continues in phase 4, that is a post-marketing surveillance, which I explained before. So sometimes when we purchase a medicine like antibiotic, we'll get a leaflet with it, right? So this leaflet is called patient information leaflet, and in that there will be a column called possible side effects, which will list down certain side effects that is expected after consuming this particular drug. So from where the company gets these information? It is with the help of pharmacovigilance. So for example, in our primary classes, we used to have these class leaders and class monitors, right? So what they will do, so whenever the teacher go out, they will monitor the class, and if someone talks in between, they will write down their names. So the same happens in pharmacovigilance. So the pharmacovigilance team will be constantly or closely monitoring the clinical trials or clinical trial phases, and if they identify any adverse drug reaction, they will report it to the health authority. So pharmacovigilance is completely a system-based job. There is absolutely no mobility. And regarding the salary, as a fresher in a contract research organization, you can expect a salary between 17 to 24,000, and in a core company, you can get around 25 to 30,000 depending on the companies. So if you want any more information regarding the pharmacovigilance job, you may contact Akash Lal. He is my friend and he is now working as a drug safety associate for Novo Nordisk Bangalore. So I will give the contact details in the description below. So if you don't like to work for a company but still you are interested in pharmacovigilance, then you can be a part of the PVPI program of India. So the PVPI, or the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, is an initiative from the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Government of India, in collaboration with the Indian Pharmacopeia Commission. So presently under this PVPI program, there are around 300 hospitals, both private and government hospitals. The recruitment happens through PVPI. Every year they will publish the number of vacancies during which the candidates after graduation can apply, and they will be having an interview. But remember, this is not a government job, it's on contract basis. So they will renew your service after 1 year based on your performance, and you can expect a salary under 25,000 as a fresher. So you may contact Dr. Rahul. He's my senior. He is a PhD scholar. He previously worked as a PVPI person in JSS. Contact details in the description below. So the next option that we have is known as a clinical data management, or CDM. So like I said before, we have the different phases of a clinical trial, right? We have the phase 1, 2, 3. So the clinical data management team have their role in almost all these phases, right from the start, then conduct to the close out of a clinical study. So based on the protocol, they design the database, they design how the data needs to be captured with the help of a database program. They have a very crucial role in the clinical trial because they need to contact with all the teams. So they need to contact the sites through CRA, they need to contact the clinical team, the medical team, the writing team, the statistical programmer, and lot more. So they are like a mother of a house or a family. So in our family, our mothers will be cleaning your room and keeping the things organized, right? So if you don't find something, we'll call our mother. If you forget something, we'll ask our mother. But she will be remembering everything because she's handling and organizing all the things in a house or a family. So like that, the clinical data management, or the CDM, basically plan, control, and organize all the activities of a clinical trial. Again, this is a system-oriented job and there won't be much mobility in work. So regarding the salary, as a fresher in a contract research organization, you will get around 18 to 25,000, whereas in core companies, you might get around 30 to 35,000 as a fresher. Again, if you have any doubts or you want a little more clarity about the clinical data management job, you may contact Smruti Ebi or Elena. Both of them were my classmates. Now they are working in clinical data management for Novartis Hyderabad. I will provide their contact details in the description below. So now coming to the next field, that is regulatory affairs. So most of you might think regulatory affairs have their role only towards the end of a clinical study, that is during drug approval, which is completely wrong. Regulatory affairs have their role right from the start of a clinical study as well as during the initial drug development process. Regulatory affairs is a very wide and dynamic field. So they act as an interface between the pharmaceutical industry and the regulatory body of the nation. So like I mentioned in the previous video, they are responsible for filing applications like IND, the Investigational New Drug Application, the NDA, and other submissions. So they work closely with the regulatory bodies. They provide critical and important information about the upcoming drugs. They take questions from the health authorities. They provide response, preparation of dossiers. So basically they perform all the activities following the regulations of the countries in order to launch or market the drug to do business. Now coming to the job opportunities. Well, I divide the job opportunities in drug regulatory affairs into two categories. The first one is the core regulatory activities and the second is the supporting activities or the supporting job roles. So in regulatory affairs, we have many departments. We have the regulatory affairs clinical team, the therapeutic group, the CMC team, the strategy team, the labeling team, the submission and publishing team, etc. So the clinical team, they work closely with the clinical trial. The therapeutic group, they closely work with the therapeutic aspects of the drug. The CMC, the chemistry, manufacturing and controls, they are responsible for the manufacturing, quality control, stability studies, active substance, etc. The strategy team, they observe how fast the drug can be launched in the market. Is there any challenges or changes in the regulation, any updates from the regulatory bodies, etc. So these are the core teams which carry out the core activities of regulatory affairs. But as a Pharm-D graduate, you cannot join directly into the core regulatory activities because in Pharm-D we are not studying much about RA, and also it needs a lot of experience in the field of regulatory affairs. So what you can do is you can start your career in other teams, other departments who supports the core regulatory activities. Such supporting team includes reports, the scientific communication team, the ECTD submissions, and other project management job roles. Again, these depends on the company. In some core companies, they have their own supporting team, whereas some companies will outsource all their supporting activities to a contract research organization. So one such supporting team involves the scientific communication team. So in a clinical studies, we have many scientific reports which should be either communicated to the regulatory bodies or for the public reference. So the reports or documents like the protocol amendment, the protocol addendum, the PSUR, the periodic safety update report, the DSUR, the development safety update report, the NDA, all these will go to the regulatory bodies like FDA or the health authority, and whereas some reports like the literature article, the meta-analysis, or the systemic literature review, these will go as publication to the internet and for the public reference. Now, who prepares all these reports and documents? There lies the importance of this global scientific communication team, and medical writing is a part of this department. So the medical writers, along with other teams like the global patient safety, the authoring team, they write and prepare these reports or documents. So they have three major functions. The first one is editing, where the reports will be checked for any grammatical or spelling errors, the punctuation, the hyphenation, the space correction, the sentence structure correction, etc. Then we have the QC, the quality check, wherein these reports will be checked with the original source document to check for the accuracy, whether the N numbers are correct, the numerical values are correct, etc. And then comes the rendering, which is a final check, wherein they will check the hyperlinks and they will convert this to a PDF file. So once these three steps are done, this will either go as a publication or to the regulatory body of the nation. Now, coming to the salaries for medical writing as a fresher in a core companies, you can earn even more than 45,000, but you need to work as an intern for 6 months, wherein the company will check your or review your performance to make you a permanent employee. Whereas in contract research organization, your salary as a fresher will range between 25 to 30,000. Again, this job has very less mobility in work. You may need a lot of patience and also need to spend a lot of hours in front of the system. Anyway, if you want to know more about medical writing, you may contact Grishma. She was my junior in JSS and presently is working for Eli Lilly in the scientific communication team. I'll provide her contact details in the description below. Alright, I'm winding up here today. If you have any questions regarding any of these fields, please post them in the comment section. I will try to answer them in my upcoming videos. So in my next video, I'll be talking about medical scientific liaison, then about other marketing jobs, about PG diplomas, and some of the other questions that you asked in my first video. Till then, take care, be safe. This is Aaromal Satheesh signing off.